him. Of course, he becomes a free agent for the first time in his career tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. That is one key domino left to fall. Then you're left to wonder what is next for quarterbacks like Jameis Winston. Would Jameis Winston return to Tampa Bay? Of course, Bruce Arians has said, yes, we like Jameis Winston, but ... There are others that they would look into, in particular, Tom Brady, right now rejoined by Mike Garafolo. And Mike, what is the latest on Jameis Winston right now?
Yeah, what Bruce Arians said was we need to see what is behind door number 2, and that's exactly how yesterday played out. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers in communication with Tom Brady, making their push to see if he'd be willing to take his talents from New England down to Tampa. I know just the thought of it, I'm thinking about him in the all-red color rush Buccaneer. It's weird. I mean, there's no two ways about it. It's weird. It's going to be weird no matter what uniform he wears if it's not a Patriots uniform. But Jameis Winston, in the meantime, I'm told he had communication with other teams as well yesterday, but also with the Buccaneers. So the Bucs remaining in contact with Winston. There's no two ways about it. He is one of their fallback plans. I believe Teddy Bridgewater also a fallback plan for Tampa Bay. You would think that would hurt Jameis Winston's feelings, but if he hasn't been paying attention this whole time with Bruce Arians saying everything that he has said this entire time about Winston, about the mistakes that he has made, and feeling like maybe somebody else could come in here and play better winning football, if Winston hasn't seen all that by now, trust me, he has. So that's how this is playing out. We'll see what happens with Winston. I believe his preference is to return to Tampa Bay as their franchise quarterback, obviously. So he is waiting like the rest of us for this big domino known as Tom Brady to fall.
Tick, 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 as we await and see what is next in the quarterback carousel right now. And I know, Mike G, you are going to be all over it if news breaks in terms of Jameis, one of just 5 QBs ever to lead the league in passing yards and interceptions in the same year. The other 4 are all pretty good quarterbacks. Ben, Breeze, Bledsoe, and Warren Moon. So Jameis Winston, you look at also Teddy Bridgewater. You look at these quarterbacks around the league, it just seems like Brady is the key to it all. But just focusing in on Jameis Winston, first off, if he doesn't go back to the Bucs, is he still a starter in this league, in your opinion?
Yeah, he's absolutely a starter. I mean, look, you turn on the film and you see some throws and you say, wow, that was impressive. And then he follows it up with, what the heck was that? And so I think the big challenge with him really is, look, can we find a way to – look, you're going to throw interceptions. Look, Jameis Winston threw more passes last year than any quarterback in the league. So there's going to be some. But you got to get away from the boneheaded ones.
But if Bruce Arians can't do it, though, Sean, then you start to wonder who can, right? You look at the long list of distinguished quarterbacks.
Yeah, B.A. is kind of that guy.
Looked over,
yeah,
right?
I mean, you would think that he would be the one that could find a way to do it. That's why I think year 2 together would be crucial for Jameis. And I think, obviously, last year being the first year, there's still a learning curve. Byron Leftwich is a young offensive coordinator. So I think for them to have another chance to partner back, I think that it could be a very dynamic offense. But for Jameis, the big challenge he's going to have is convincing these other teams that I can do that on my own, because he hasn't done it on his own in his history.
I agree with the idea that maybe the second year with Bruce Arians would be, we would see a leap, because there were periods during the year last year where it looked like he had turned the corner, where the interceptions were down, they were throwing the ball a ton, he was having great success, and so you thought, okay, they've made progress. And then it felt like the interceptions come in bunches. It's almost like if he throws one,
yeah, right, here comes
he presses,
3 others. Yeah.
And maybe he panics, and it just falls off the cliff. I do wonder if a second year with Arians would be beneficial. But look, we've all listened to B.A. and we adore him for his candor. But when he says, things like we want to see what's behind door number 2, whew,
But
Okay.
It's not a ringing endorsement.
But I think that candor, listen, not every player likes every message, but I think they'd rather have candor than the guy out there talking about, he is our guy, and then secretly, you know, God, if only we could get Brady in here. I mean, at least the players I've dealt with over the years, Sean, you were one, you know, you can speak to it better than I, would want candor as opposed to, you know, deceptiveness. And that is who BA is. I mean, and I think that has worked well with players over the years. I'll tell you one thing that interests me with Jameis, and it sounds flip or it sounds light, and I don't mean it that way. The LASIK surgery. If this was an issue, and it's an issue, if you're going to get LASIK surgery, you have an issue with your eyesight. I don't know how that plays into this coming season for him. He literally could be seen more clearly
in 2020.
There you go.
Oh. Wow. You're just full of
that
them.
worked.
Nice.
You're just full of it. But how much of it is mental and how much of it is the LASIK? And he also had a meniscus issue as well.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think any of those really had to do with the decision-making of the interceptions. But to your point, if it makes him better, then it's scary to think that there could be a better version of Jameis Winston out there. I mean, when you look at the numbers of what he did this year.
Well, the interceptions could easily come down, and that would make him better.
Yes, absolutely. Then you don't have to throw the ball so many times because you're not trying to make up for the bad throw that you just made. And not just interceptions. A lot of them went the other way.
Yeah.
They were pick sixes. So those are hard to come back from.
So we're all thinking.
If you have Chris Godwin and Mike Evans to throw the ball to, you have to be more efficient than he was.
Absolutely.
You cannot be matching turnover or interceptions to touchdowns.
There's no question.
Can't do it. They're great receivers.
That's still the best spot for Jameis.
Yeah,
I don't
no
think
doubt.
there's any
It's a
doubt
good
about
spot,
that.
period. Yep.
But again, we're all waiting for. You might have heard of him, Tom Brady.
And I think Jameis is okay if he knows that door number 2 is Tom Brady.
Yeah,
I mean,
I think
it's not really a slight. Like, hey, look, I get it.
No, you're right. You're right. But I think we're also in agreement that obviously Tampa Bay is a good spot for him, but also one-year deal would probably do it.
I know we have to go. It could be a crossroads moment for Jameis, though. Unlike Mariota, and they were 1-2, Mariota just signed as a backup.
Yes.
He was Mike Mayock's best quarterback in the year that year, I believe, if I remember from the combine correctly, and the draft.
He was in love with him, yes,
right.
absolutely.
And now he's just signed as a backup. This is an important time for Jameis, so door number 2 might be the better option.
No, that's why we call it free agency frenzy. This could easily be quarterback frenzy, the way that we're looking at it. Oh, by the way, we haven't mentioned Phillip Rivers. We're still waiting on news on him, yes. And the Colts might be trying to lure him in. We'll explain.